The Rutgers Scarlet Knights open up season number 3 against Texas State. They wanted a team that they could beat up on, and they got one as Gavin Wimsatt, now wearing number 5, throws to Cody James for a 15-yard touchdown strike. Then later, he would roll out and hit Professor Grabass with a dime piece for 6 points. Late in the second quarter, it's tight end Mike Higgins on the receiving end of a dotty. And then out of halftime, Monopoly Man Jones does some work of his own for a score of his own, as Rutgers rolled 49-3 at home, while Wimsatt had 6 touchdown passes in the dub. Number 20 Oklahoma came into Piscataway, New Jersey, and early on, it was Mike Higgins telling defenders to get off him for the game's first touchdown. Sophomore Cody James took one right up the middle, and he just crowd surfed his way into the end zone. What an insane play as we get another look at it, but Oklahoma wasn't going away as Jay Clay found Nicholas Anderson on a slant, and he did his best Victor Cruz impression as nobody caught him salsa into the end zone for a score. But Anderson was no one-trick pony, as he also beat true freshman Jimmy Two Blunts on the outside. Now you know where Wimsatt's number 2 went for the score. Cody James had a short rushing yard score to keep the Knights out in front. And on the other side of halftime, it was fullback Kennard Bowen who boomer-soonered into the end zone for 6 points. Wimsatt would then look to Teddy Snaggs on 3rd and 7, and he found a way to sneak into the end zone for a Rutgers touchdown. Javante Barnes found a way in on the other end to keep Oklahoma in the game, but Gavin Wimsatt to Teddy Snaggs' connection was working again for another Scarlet Knight touchdown. And the Sooners would face a 4th and 3, and the play call was a total head-scratcher. Cody James went for over 200 total yards and 3 scores in the win over the Sooners. Next up for the Scarlet Knights was a road fight against the defending national champion Syracuse Orange. And on the first drive, Wimsatt rolled right and he was intercepted, though it amounted to no Syracuse points. First issue is, he didn't learn his lesson with another ill-advised tight throw intercepted again. And that would lead to this screen to Jamariz Ricard for the game's first touchdown. Wimsatt still was making ill-advised throws as Lowry picked him off again. And luckily, Carlos Del Rio Wilson almost threw a pick. Clearly, Wimsatt wasn't done with turnovers though, as he was smacked into the middle of next week on a fumble play, allowing Syracuse and Del Rio Wilson to score again. Del Rio Wilson later would find his man Umari Hatcher to sneak into the end zone, and they were up 24-zip until Cody James finally found some pay dirt in the third quarter. He would find it again with 3:09 to go as the 2-point conversion was again good. Syracuse could have it put away with a field goal, but the kick was up and it was no good, way short. And Gavin Wimsatt would roll out and find Don Munnerlin deep all alone in the end zone with 9 seconds to go, which also set a new school career passing touchdown record. 2-point conversion was really close, too close for comfort, but Teddy Snaggs snuck in, and on a Hail Mary attempt, it was Jimmy Two Blunts coming up with the interception. True freshman showing why Wimsatt was willing to give up his jersey number to bring him into the school, though it wasn't a good enough return for a winning score, so it's time for overtime. In overtime, Wimsatt was cut off and intercepted by Sparrow, but it's okay because the Syracuse kicker was on our payroll. After that, though, Michael Williams would find pay dirt, but it would be Gavin Wimsatt with a dime to Professor Grabass and the ballsy call to go for 2, and the play call for it to be a short pass to Mike Higgins that gave Rutgers a 32-31 road upset comeback win against the defending champions. That brought Rutgers to number 14 in the rankings and hosting Minnesota. Wimsatt calmly found Grabass in the front right corner of the end zone for the first touchdown of the game, and later it was Cody James on the screen finding tons of open space to get in for the easy touchdown, 14-0 Knights. Ethan Kaliakmanis finds Kristen Hoskins in the left back corner of the end zone to cut the lead in half. It was Gavin Wimsatt to Professor Grabass to grab a 2-score lead right back. But this Kaliakmanis guy wasn't going anywhere. This time he found Lamecki Brockington, who makes a wonderful catch on the last play of the half. No one can cover this man, Professor Grabass, as he is off to the races again for 6 more points. Rutgers came out of the half with a long drive and a Cody James punch-in. It was all over for Minnesota as they go down 42-28, with Wimsatt throwing for 5 touchdowns. Now up to number 11 in the rankings, the Scarlet Knights had a Dayton, Nebraska. Josh Chipoletti took it on a read option keeper, 38 yards all the way to the end zone for the early Huskers lead. What was the Gavin Wimsatt response? Well, rolling away on 4th and 3 and taking a sack for a turnover. That led to Chipoletti finding his man Deontay Porter for an 18-yard touchdown strike. Cody James did his typical stuff, taking one in from 5 yards out, and after a Huskers field goal and a nice play to Rashad Rochelle, setting up goal to go, it was Cody James doing it again from 1 yard out to get Rutgers within 3 points. The long field goal attempt was close, but no cigar, and that allowed Wimsatt to roll left and find Monopoly Man Jones for a 34-yard dotty for a lead. Chipoletti pressed before half, throwing an interception, and Cody James would end up converting it. With the ball after the half, Wimsatt found Rochelle for 6 points, and it was a rout as Wimsatt would later throw for another touchdown pass, this time to Don Munnerlin, to beat Nebraska on the road 49-24. Cody James had 4 total scores. The next stop for the 5-0 and top 10 ranked Rutgers Scarlet Knights was a road game at night in Purdue. If you know anything about the Big Ten, that's an uh-oh. Gavin Wimsatt would find Professor Grabass for the game's first touchdown. But then, later, getting away from pressure, he would force one and it would be picked off, leading to Purdue quarterback Brady Allen taking it in himself for the touchdown. Purdue would then have a 10-point lead before Cody James would hit pay dirt himself, and after that, Wimsatt would throw a dime piece to Teddy Snaggs for the tying touchdown, as Rutgers fans would breathe a sigh of relief. However, Purdue wasn't done fighting at home late in the third, as the jet sweep to Nick Jones had him bobbing and weaving, and then gone baby gone. With Purdue leading, it was Teddy Snaggs muffing the kickoff, and when Rutgers tried getting out of trouble here, it was Cody James tackled in the end zone for a safety. It got worse after the safety punt as Devin Maccabee scores his 3rd rushing touchdown. Wimsatt on 3rd and 17 would find Teddy Snaggs, and he would blitz it into the end zone for a 50-yard touchdown. Nobody could catch him. But when Rutgers needed the ball, it was Brady Allen to Zion Steptoe to extend the lead once again. Teddy Snaggs stood hot trying to make up for the muff on this 9-yard touchdown, and somehow magically Rutgers recovered an onside kick. But with Wimsatt now hurt, the backup good old Rocky Top finds Monopoly Man Jones deep in the end zone for another touchdown. This time, the onside kick does not work, and Purdue would add 3 points. There was one final chance for the Scarlet Knights, but Rocky Top would be sacked and time would run out with no timeouts, as Rutgers takes the loss 51-45, losing all hopes for an undefeated season. Not only that, but a loss to Purdue leaves Rutgers ranked number 25 with a visit to the Big House. The handoff to Quintarius Epps nets Michigan the first touchdown of the game, and after a short Rutgers score, would be Davis Warren hitting Christian Dixon on a screen, and he's gone. 57 yards, absolutely untouched. Cody James sitting on the bench when revamped Pimp Nasty would hit pay dirt, and later it's a brilliant throw and catch from Gavin Wimsatt to Teddy Snaggs to finally take a lead. Davis Warren felt pressure on this throw, and it would be picked off and then taken all the way back to the house by Anthony Johnson, but Warren was able to lead Big Blue down the field for 6 right before the half. And out of the half goes Gavin Wimsatt with the to Don Munnerlin for 67 yards. However, on 1st and goal, he tries to do way too much with it, and he would fumble the football away. That's okay. The true freshman star, Jimmy Two Blunts, was there to nab the pick from Warren and house that thing for 6. Warren would then hand it to Tavier Dunlap, who takes it in from 11 yards out for the touch. Back and forth affair, Wimsatt rolled to the right and threw a dart to Teddy Snaggs for a Rutgers touchdown. On the ensuing kickoff, it was a heck of a return from CJ Stokes, making a dot to Colston Loveland look really easy for 6 points. Revamped Pimp Nasty later got a short yardage touchdown, and even though Michigan got a nice stiff arm touchdown by Parker Gauchke, it amounted to Rutgers hanging on by a score of 49-46 as Cody James goes for over 250 total yards with a score. The number 2 Penn State Nittany Lions rolled into Piscataway, and Rutgers was without wideout Monopoly Man Jones, who would be out with back spasms. Drew Aller strikes first with a 36-yard dot to Harrison Wallace for the Nittany Lion tutty. And then Gavin Wimsatt rolled to his right and lofted a nice touch pass to Teddy Snaggs, who somehow found a way across the plane for a 29-yard touchdown. On a 3rd and 11, it was Wimsatt under pressure, and he launched a ball airmailed right to the hands of Driver for the interception. Drew Aller would take advantage with a short pass to Marquez Smith for the lead again. And near the end of the half, Wimsatt would find Teddy Snaggs on a broken play for a touchdown strike of 31 yards for Rutgers' first lead of the game. But Penn State would go on a drive with Allard tossing to Tank Smith for a short touchdown right before the half, and a short yardage Cody James touchdown gave Rutgers the lead. But Drew Aller would find Liam Clifford for a 12-yard tutty right in the back of the end zone. Again, Rutgers leaned on James as he got a short yardage score. After that, it was revamped Pimp Nasty to extend the lead right before Drew Aller would find the end zone to make it a 5-point game. But with Cody James out for the rest of the game, it was all revamped Pimp Nasty, who had some long runs, and he would finish off the drive with a short touchdown to make it a 12-point game. The final score would end up 56-37, with a duo of James and Pimp Nasty going off for over 300 yards and 6 touchdowns. With wins over Michigan and Penn State, Rutgers looked for revenge on Ohio State in the heartbreak that they caused last season. But it wasn't working, as Evan Pryor ran hard up the middle for 32 yards, which would end up leading to a Kyle McCord 2-yard touchdown run. Gavin Wimsatt ran himself for 20 yards to set up Cody James from 5 yards out to tie the football game. Late in the first quarter, Wimsatt found Professor Grabass for a huge play, which would also lead to Cody James reaching pay dirt again. Ohio State and Pryor had a shot to score again, but it was a fumble, and it was recovered by Amankwa, the safety. But they kept at it, and Pryor would find the end zone anyway later on from 2 yards out. 9 seconds left in the first half, and it was Graves catching one in traffic and somehow finding his way all the way to the end zone to give the Ohio State Buckeyes a 21-14 halftime lead. It would take all the way to the fourth quarter for Cody James to get his usual short yardage run. The ensuing kickoff is taken by Caleb Burton up the left sidelines and breaking multiple tackles en route to a 98-yard kickoff return TD for the Bucks. Wimsatt, looking to get away from pressure, was sacked for a turnover on downs, and Ohio State wins in convincing fashion 38-21 to remain undefeated and take our Scarlet Knights down in back-to-back seasons. Rutgers went down to number 22 in the rankings, and they would be visiting the Hoosiers, who they figured they could get back on track against with all the injuries that Indiana had. This was an ugly game, and it was Narwhal who would end up scooping up an early fumble by Lucas, which seemed to be really great for the Scarlet Knights. But it was not, as Wimsatt, under pressure in the end zone, is sacked for a safety. Not only that, but he was hurt, In comes good old Rocky Top for a 16-yard read option keeper right up the middle to set up goal to go for Cody James to finally give Rutgers the lead. Pierce, who threw the game away last year, throws the pick to Jimmy Two Blunts this year, leading to Rocky Top hitting Teddy Snaggs for a short touchdown. But later, it's Pierce to Jacques Smith for a Hoosier touchdown of 21 yards, and with 1:18 left on 4th and 4, Pierce would find Jacques Smith over the middle for 25 yards. Then Pierce has all day in the pocket to find Malachi Holt Bennett in the back of the end zone, and his throw on the 2-point conversion was good to Brunn. Huge launch over the middle by Rocky Top would be cut off and intercepted by McDonald of Indiana, and Rocky Top knows that was just a bad pass as Rutgers loses their 3rd game of the season. Rutgers has plummeted to number 25 of the rankings and barely holding on to a spot in the polls, visiting Maryland. They'll go the remainder of the season without Gavin Wimsatt as the seniors played his last down as a Scarlet Knight. This game started awfully as well, with Rocky Top intercepted by Damarin Singleton and taken all the way back to the hizzy quite easily. But the team relied on Cody James to tie the football game up, and then Rocky Top contributed with a short pass to Teddy Snaggs. Not only took the lead, but it got Snaggs the single-season receiving TD record with 13. Last play of the first quarter was a nice rollout by Rocky Top, finding Rashad Rochelle from 9 yards out. And in the second quarter, it was Cody James with a nice run, easy in for the score, making this one look ugly. That trend continued with little time in the half as Rocky Top found Monopoly Man Jones from 17 yards out. Nice Dottie. An easy dime piece to grab ass in the third quarter extended that lead. Rocky Top got injured, and Mark Stoll got a touchdown of his own as Rutgers would blow out the Twerps 70-28 with their backup QBs. That leads to the final game of the regular season as Rutgers hosts Sparty. This game, they would be without Wimsatt and Rocky Top, who would miss this game due to an MCL sprain. That means 64 overall redshirt freshman Mark Stoll would get a start. He'd rely on Cody James heavy, and Cody would deliver with a beautiful 22-yard run into the end zone to start the Knights off. Pepe Limoncello also contributed, taking a punt right side and gone, baby, gone. Nobody near him for 86 yards on the punt return touchdown. Rutgers holding on, and the screen to Cody James works out for a nice, easy touchdown. And later, it's Cody James rushing from 15 yards out. The last play of the first half, and Stoll would let out a caught in the end zone by Don Munnerlin. What a throw! With that, Rutgers would finish it off with a 45-28 win behind Cody James, rushing for 213 and 3 touchdowns while catching for 63 and a score. With the way the team leaned on him all year, it's no surprise Cody James was the Heisman Trophy winner. Of course, Cody James would be a first-team All-American. Other Rutgers first-teamers included defensive end Dark Specta, middle linebacker Anthony Johnson, and cornerback Pepe Limoncello. On the second team was cornerback Jimmy Two Blunts. That meant that Dark Specta, Pepe Limoncello, and Jimmy Two Blunts all also made the All-Freshman team. In addition to the Heisman, Cody James took home the Maxwell Award and the Walter Camp Award. Anthony Johnson won the Bednarik Award. Dark Specta would win the Nagurski Award. Cody James also won that Doak Walker Running Back Award. Teddy Snaggs came in 6th for the Bletnikoff. Dark Specta would win the Lombardi Award. Anthony Johnson would also take home the Butkus Award. Jimmy Two Blunts was in 2nd for the Thorpe Award, and Pepe Limoncello won the Jet Rogers Return Man Award. College football playoff semis had Georgia smack Georgia Tech. The other matchup had Ohio State drill the Washington Huskies. National champions are the Ohio State Buckeyes with a 45-17 drubbing of Georgia. Rutgers still makes a good bowl game despite 3 losses as they take on number 10 Texas in the Cotton Bowl at beautiful AT&T Stadium. But this game was anything but beautiful as Quinn Ewers takes the keeper for 15 yards and a first down before trying and missing the touchdown in the back of the end zone, leading to a field goal. But don't worry, Longhorns, because here's Rocky Top with a huge pick all the way back near the goal line, and that made for an easy Jaden Blue rush to finish off the drive with 6. Rocky Top with a quick strike to Rashad Rochelle, who would put the defender in a spin cycle, and he'd be off to the races. Nobody home. Easy touchdown. Rutgers getting back in the ball game. But down 13-7, Rocky Top, bad decision as he's intercepted again. And then there goes Jaden Blue, 41 yards, a beautiful touchdown run, gone baby gone. No! It got worse when Ewers picked up his game, finding Chris Michelle for 13 yards and a touchdown. And even Cody James was giving this game away, putting the ball on the ground for Finkley to come in, scoop it up, bring it back to the house, and score it easily. The Longhorns were trolling the Scarlet Knights with tight ends on fullback dives going for touchdowns, as they easily win the Cotton Bowl in their home state, 48-20 behind Jaden Blue's 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gavin Wimsatt ends the season as Rutgers' career touchdown pass leader at 93, and of course, Teddy Snaggs, the new touchdown and a season leader at 13. Wimsatt is the biggest key loss in the offseason, as he's had ups and downs, but if you saw Rocky Top play, it could get rough going forward. Starting right outside backer, Moses Walker was graduating. Don Munnerlin's numbers don't look that impressive, but he was in the highlights and he made plays for us. Anthony Johnson leaves with a bit of hardware for his trophy case in his 1 year as a true starter. Cameron Stewart really only played full-time this year, but he's contributed for 3 years now. Strong safety, Michael Robinson II ends with 69 tackles. Nice. Oh, and Wimsatt is a 5th-round draft pick, so good for him. The recruitment class doesn't have a ton of high overall players, but we really didn't go for a lot of sexy skill positions, being that guys like James, Snaggs, Specta, Two Blunts, and Pepe Limoncello are all young yet. We did bring in Lyman, and that is really what we need. Oh, and peep the new QB. You'll meet him next year. Wink, wink. That recruiting class was enough for 4th place, just behind Penn State, Ohio State, and Alabama. Next season, we'll still be looking for our first Big Ten title in Rutgers history, going up against Boston College, Buffalo, and Oklahoma State in our out-of-conference slate. We can reach our goals if we don't take any dumb losses, so we'll look to embarrass Indiana next time. Can Rutgers finally get over the hump and win the Big Ten? Predict our record in the comments section. Let me know if you think we can win the Big Ten. Find out for real next episode.